We have massive news today, everyone. Laura Loomer, who's a popular investigative journalist, came out with findings showing that a U.S. Congresswoman is leaking U.S. intelligence to Qatar. Also, stick around to the end of the show. We're going to be showing the updates as to what the Trump administration is doing with the Epstein files because they're changing course. There's some big new information with that. So, investigative journalist Laura Loomer tweeted the following story out yesterday. It is a bombshell, probably the biggest news of the month. Almost no one's talking about it, maybe other than Epstein. Bear with me here. It's a pretty long tweet, but it is big. This is big stuff. She says, sources tell me GOP conference chair Rep. Lisa McClain is a congresswoman in Michigan, leaked the agenda of tomorrow's scheduled hearing in the Congressional Committee on Education and Workforce titled College Presidents to Answer for Sources Inciting Anti-Semitism. She leaked it to the Embassy of Qatar when she found out members would be discussing Qatar's funding of U.S. colleges and universities and pro-Palestinian activities on campus. I have obtained exclusive video footage of Lisa McClain dancing with Qataris at a rooftop party on July 4th, where she hosted the Qataris on Independence Day. Why did Congresswoman Lisa McClain, who serves in the House GOP leadership as conference chair, host a party for Qatar on July 4th? She continues, before I go on, I want to actually show you that video because she has that video of Representative McClain dancing with the Qataris. Here it is. So that's the insider information that she comes out with. She says that there's this hearing and that Representative McClain leaked what was going to be going on in the hearing to Qatar. Now, here is the proof of that happening. Qatar sent this out. This is again, according to Laura Loomer. She said, I have exclusively obtained the memo that the Embassy of Qatar sent out to several members of Congress and lobbyists for Qatar after GOP conference chair Rep. Lisa McClain and her staff leaked the questions about Qatar's financing of colleges and universities to the Embassy of Qatar ahead of the congressional hearing on anti-Semitism on college campuses that is scheduled to take place tomorrow, July 15th, which is today. The fact that the GOP conference chair would run cover for Qatar, the funders of Hamas, is treasonous. It's an insult to our country and the American people. Why did Lisa McClain feel compelled to give the Qataris, the biggest financiers of the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, the questions ahead of time so the university presidents and Qatar could show up with propaganda in their hand to dispute U.S. members of Congress with jihadi talking points? So again, the betrayal in this is that she sent out all the questions ahead of time so they could prepare for the questions that would be asked in today's hearing. Also, what you can see here is that Qatar actually sent out a memo ahead of time to kind of prep the Congress people on what they were going to talk about. And you can see from what they're talking about in these memos, I'll put some of them up on the screen for you to see, that they are ready to go. They've got all the questions, they've got all the right answers. All of it is propaganda. At the very beginning, they talk about how it says the Embassy of Qatar fully respects the committee's work, talks about how the funding of anti-Semitism at Georgetown University is completely false. They talk about how they're not actually funding Hamas, and they go into the specifics of that, even though it's a complete lie. They also talk about how they're not funding the universities here, which is also a lie. So you can clearly see from all of that they knew exactly what the meeting would be about, and basically carefully crafted a statement to be sent out to everyone on that committee ahead of time and convinced them to be pro-Qatar. And also sent this out to the lobbyists so that the lobbyists could get in the heads of these Congress people before the committee so that they'd go soft on them or even be pro-Qatar in general. Everything, again, that Qatar said in this memo was a lie. They're saying that they don't fund Hamas. They're saying they don't fund American universities. If you don't believe me, here are the top 10 donors to the U.S. universities, by the way. A lot of people think it's Israel or China. The top donor to U.S. universities is Qatar. $6 to $6.3 billion since the 80s have gone from Qatar. In second place, you've got China with almost half that much, $3.7 billion. Again, 3.7 from China, 6.3 from Qatar, which is a tiny little country in the Middle East. I would fully expect China to be donating tons of money to U.S. universities. I don't like it. I don't think it should be legal. But to see a tiny country giving twice as much money to U.S. universities than China is crazy. After China, you have Saudi Arabia, the UAE, by the way, all Middle Eastern countries. You've got Kuwait, you've got the United Kingdom, Germany, Russia, Japan. But none of those donations come even close again, to the $6.3 billion that Qatar has given to American universities. Of course, by the way, in the memo, there is a quid pro quo. And they say this several times. The Qataris basically say in the memo, hey, look, we've got a pretty good thing going. You guys have about 10,000 troops in Qatar. It'd be a shame if we had to, give up that little arrangement over a silly little committee hearing. That's essentially what they say. So there is actually in the memo a quid pro quo where they were saying you need to make this go well, or you may lose out on some of the benefits that the U.S. is receiving through Qatar. So this particular hearing did happen today. As far as I'm aware, we don't have a ton of footage from it. I don't think it'd be particularly interesting footage in the first place because, again, the memo or the committee questions were leaked. The memo was sent out. Everyone knows what's going to happen already. What is interesting about what happened today is that Rep. McClain, who is the GOP conference chair, didn't show up at all. She did not come. And the reason why is because Laura Loomer has 1.5 million followers on X. So this has not been buried in terms of alternative media. Laura Loomer has gotten the word out. Mainstream media has not talked about this, but enough people know, and I think that Rep. McClain did not want to feel the heat going into this, so she just didn't show up, even though she literally leads the committee. She's been ousted completely. She literally wouldn't show up just because of the embarrassment. I think that she should resign today. This is completely unacceptable, and herein lies the deeper problem that we're dealing with. None of the anti-Israel conservative commentators or congressmen or senators are talking about this at all. They're all dead silent. There's no words about it. Again, no words from the mainstream media. That's to be expected. From alternative media, we're not getting much from almost anyone. Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, all silent. No one's talking about it. I thought they cared about America first. You would think out of everything, they would care about a congresswoman leaking information to a foreign government. They don't care. They care when Israel is tampering with our politicians. I do too, by the way. They're silent when it's Qatar. They're completely silent. In fact, we know they love Qatar. They talk about them all the time. I'm also very concerned how connected the Trump family is with Qatar right now, frankly. Trump is very friendly with them. Obviously, there was the whole jumbo jet fiasco that's kind of blown over. Trump's son is deeply in bed in Qatari business. I think that's scary. I don't like it. It looks like corruption, even if it's not corruption. I'm not trying to basically put accusations out there. There's a small chance it's not corruption, but either way, it looks like corruption. It doesn't look good. It's foreign entanglements, and that we were promised that wasn't going to happen. That was one of Trump's main promises. I think conservatives should stop being buddy-buddy with a radical Islamist regime. I don't know how that's controversial. I think it's ridiculous. If they don't, the only logical conclusion I can come to from the conservative political commentators to the politicians is that they're being paid by them. Growing your business is amazing, guys. It's satisfying, but it's really hard. Accountants, sales, and marketing specialists are all essential for scaling your businesses, but it can be incredibly expensive, and that is why I partnered with Leverage Assistant. Leverage Assistant connects businesses like yours with the accountants, the data analysts, marketing specialists, and sales assistants working in the same time zones as your business for a fraction of the cost. The average company right now is actually saving more than $20,000 a year in labor costs through Leverage Assistant. They're not a recruiter. They're not a marketplace. They're a high-touch resourcing solution where they vet every assistant through over 12 hours of interviews, skill tests, reference checks, and behavioral assessments to ensure that they're the right cultural, but also the right operational fit for your business. Right now, guys, they're giving 1 month free to my listeners so that you can have an assistant in your corner to do the work that you don't want to do, or rather it's just super expensive to do. Again, 1 month free to you. There's no risk. To check that out and see the high quality talent that they give, head to the link in the description below. We have big updates from Donald Trump's family and also Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer on the Epstein list. Alan Dershowitz, who was Epstein's lawyer, is the person that originally said that there was a list out there with potential Epstein clients on it. He said he saw it. It's what people, again, who don't believe Trump and what Trump is saying about the Epstein list refer to. He is the original source of that. He came out just today. He was asked point blank this week as to what the list looks like and why it hasn't been released. Here's what he said.
Is the government hiding a client list or anything that the Trump administration could release tonight?
No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them. From accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex. And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did only investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan. And they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims.
So this is the central problem right there. I'm all for transparency, but you have a few problems with the Epstein list and all the files with it. The first is obviously that the judges aren't letting Trump actually release certain things. You can't release the victims. There was a big hubbub over Republicans in Congress today voting to not let the list come out, or rather, and we call it a list. There's no list, just the Epstein files in general. There's a big hubbub over it. They can't do it. The judges are not allowing them to do it. Also, even if they wanted to do it, they shouldn't do it because of the second problem is that you have underage victims whose video of them doing inappropriate things and names would go out with them. And that's obviously wrong. You don't want 14-year-old girl names and child pornography getting out there. It should not be out there. That's obvious. So why Democrats would push for that is beyond me. Also, if you have alleged clients, you can't put that out there either. Because as much as we would like to see the alleged clients, I know it would be fascinating to see, we as conservatives of all people, we say that girls accusing men of sexual assault can ruin their lives forever because they may not be telling the truth. It could be a false accusation. So why would we think it's appropriate for the names to come out in this, just alleged names, before the FBI or the DOJ confirm that they were really the clients? We can't just see alleged people because no matter what, people are going to see it as real. And that's wrong. And that's pretty consistent with, again, the Me Too movement. The whole thing was conservatives were saying, yeah, an accusation is not actually something real. And so, again, it's not right for the alleged clients to get out there as much as, I would like to see it, as much as I'm curious to see it. With all of that, though, I do hope that the Trump administration releases as much as they can just for transparency purposes. I think they need to speak a little more seriously about it. Laura Trump actually said the same thing. She says that is likely to happen. We're going to get a lot of the files to come out. Here's a video of her saying that.
For him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this. And I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that. I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it. So hopefully we see that happen sooner.
Ultimately, the problem is this, guys. Even if Trump released all of the Epstein files today, literally everything, all the child porn, all the alleged clients, all the things that I don't want out there, but let's say he just did all of it, the conspiracies would not stop. People wouldn't just say, oh, we got it. That's great. Oh, yeah, Trump's not in it. Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about it anymore. People would say that he's holding back information, and that is the problem, ultimately, with conspiracy theorists. There's no amount of evidence that's going to satisfy them, ever. The conspiracy is just going to grow deeper. There's going to be new branches of it that weren't there before, but they are now. And the conspiracy theories are just never going to end. The conspiracy theorists have to be right no matter what. But I need to see, and again, I have to say this too, the conspiracy theorists could be right. I'm not saying it's not, but I need to see the evidence first. We can't just sit here and say that someone is guilty when we don't actually have the evidence for if they're guilty or not. And I think it's very easy to be a conspiracy theorist. It's the easy route to take. To actually take the evidence is the hard thing. To be a conspiracy theorist is very easily. What they're saying right now, essentially, is that people who are waiting for the evidence are complicit. That's the whole argument of the conspiracy theorists, that whole part on the right and on the left. The argument is that the people who are just saying they want evidence are covering for Epstein. They're child predators themselves. Maybe they're agents of Mossad. The thing is any people looking for evidence could turn it on those conspiracy theorists in a dime. I could say right now, oh, you think that Trump was just, on that list and that Epstein was murdered in jail, I think that Epstein escaped jail. I think he faked his death. He's still out there doing awful things today. How dare you? How dare you for covering for Epstein by saying that he is dead, that he was murdered, when we all know that he's out there, because it just makes sense. How dare you for being so evil? Do you see how I can just immediately make myself more self-righteous, the hero, while I can just make everyone else look like the evil person? That's what the conspiracy theorists are doing right now. It's very easy to do. You can just dig deeper and say everyone above you is stupid, and not only are they stupid, but they're actually corrupt and evil, and they're trying to help child predators. That's what these people do. It's harmful. The best I think we can do is call for Trump to release all the info that he can, and then we can elect people who we trust to reveal these things. And that was the whole justification, by the way, for 2024. That's what we did. We elected Trump to take care of this. We also, with that, elected Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. And they came to a certain conclusion about Epstein. And now that some people don't like their conclusions, they're turning on them. Which, again, it's your prerogative, but you elected them to trust them. That was the whole purpose, was you went in there saying, to a degree, I trust you on this. So that's why I'm putting you in there. That's why you voted for them. And then they came to a conclusion that you didn't like. And so you're like, I don't trust you anymore. So in other words, you never actually trusted them. Never. You just wanted them to tell you what you wanted to hear. And as soon as they didn't say that, you turned on them. Again, stop the self-righteousness. That's super easy. It's the easiest thing you can do. Stop the self-righteousness that comes from making your conspiracy theory bigger than the next guy. That's all you're doing. It's not helpful. What would actually be helpful is calling for some reasonable transparency and then actually electing people that you trust to get rid of these evil people like Epstein. The progressive left is a cult, guys. I talk about it in my book, A New Cult. Talk about some crazy stories. I talk about Epstein, actually. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please like the video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it. And you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.